Hello everyone, this is Masaya Yamaguchi in New York. In episode 2, we traced the words associated with the blues. In episode 3, we followed its commercialization. This time, we're going straight to the source of the blues. You may think the blues was born in America, but listen to this. In a recording made in the Congo in 1906, we can already hear something that contains the DNA of the blues. And today, I'm going to show you something that may even challenge one of the most famous phrases in rock music. Before we get into the main topic, let me make one thing very clear. Forget personal opinions, assumptions, and irresponsible speculation that are not based on primary sources. That's fake. In historical research, what we need is evidence. Imagining what happened before recording technology existed is not historical scholarship. In 1877, Edison invented the phonograph. Then, beginning in 1893, expeditions began collecting sounds from around the world. These recordings are one of the few reliable points of entry we have into the actual sound of the past. Today, I'm going to present a remarkable discovery made by my mentor in music history, Dr. Lewis Porter, based on a recording from 1906, together with my own interpretation of what it means. Listen to this recording of a wooden flute played by the Luba people in the Congo, recorded in the village of Ruwebo in 1906 by the anthropologist Leo Frobenius. Did you hear that? The pitch was bent upward. In Japan, people often incorrectly call this choking, but what we're hearing is clearly a kind of blues-style bending, the same kind of expressive gesture we hear on the guitar. And doesn't that phrase sound familiar? If you're thinking that's not the blues, then you don't know much about electric guitar. Think about one of the first things generations of guitar beginners learned. Deep Purple's Smoke on the Water. I'm talking about the descending phrase at the beginning of Ritchie Blackmore's famous solo. That phrase is remarkably similar to the cliché we hear in this 1906 Congolese flute recording. So let me play the Congolese flute phrase on guitar. It comes out something like this. That's basically an E minor blues sound. It's unmistakably a blues phrase. Now, let me show you how the phrase from the Congolese flute and the phrase from Smoke on the Water are related. Everybody knows this riff from Smoke on the Water. The riff is basically built from the G minor pentatonic scale with the flat 5 added. And I'm sure many of you learned the solo by using the G minor pentatonic scale. Pay attention to this part. That's in G minor, right? Now move it down to E minor. That's the Congolese phrase. They're essentially the same. So what I'm saying is that the blues feeling is the same. The important point here is not the scale, it's the phrase, the cliché. With a primitive flute whose pitch isn't even completely stable, music can function almost like a signal. They're not necessarily building music from a theoretical scale. The instrument itself is still limited, so the musician plays the phrases that the instrument can produce. It's almost like the sound of a street vendor's horn, the kind of distinctive melody used to signal that the vendor is coming. The phrase itself becomes a signal, and those kinds of signaling phrases can be traced from African musical traditions through people who were brought to America as slaves into the folk blues of musicians such as Blind Lemon Jefferson. Then you have people like Samuel Charters documenting and publicizing this history in books like this one. This is Charters' book, The Country Blues. A lot of British musicians learned about the blues through books like this. The Rolling Stones, for example. And from there, these traditions eventually made their way into the foundations of rock music. I never expected to bring Ritchie Blackmore into a jazz lecture, but this is exactly what historical continuity looks like in the real world. And don't misunderstand me. There is plenty of good music in rock. So keep an open mind when you listen to jazz and when you listen to rock. Now here's today's question. Did the blues come from Africa? My answer is this. The blues was formed on American soil, but the core DNA of the blues was already present on African soil, as the 1906 Congo recording demonstrates. The evidence is the recording itself. From 1906 to 2026, that's exactly 120 years. A recording has survived across those 120 years to show us something about the musical language that existed in Africa before the blues took its recognizable American form. Next time, in episode 5, a mysterious word that appeared in a book in 1860, JASM. I'll show you the evidence of how that word eventually became the chain called jazz, a word that Miles Davis himself hated. This is Masaya Yamaguchi. Thank you for watching.